Welcome to the stage, Victor Varnado!
All right, everybody. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm going to be moving the microphone. I know nobody else did that. I don't want to freak you out. So here's the thing. There's a word that I say a lot. That's okay. Okay. I say okay a lot because when people offer me choices, I'm like, okay. You know the many worlds theory? You know, every decision creates a new world. I think I'm often in the worst one. Because I say okay so much. Here's the story I want to tell you tonight. So I was at a bachelor party, okay, for my friend Greg. By the way, Greg is not his real name. I'm not using real names because this story is terrible. So the only person who's going to have a real name is me, Victor. Everybody else, either I'm trying to protect them or they were such terrible, shady people I don't even know the truth. So I'm with Greg, and we are at his bachelor party, and it's starting off with a dinner at like a meat palace. Now, I don't know, it's the restaurant. Okay, I'm calling it a meat palace. I don't know what they really call. It's a restaurant where they bring out big slabs of meat and they hand everybody knives. And then you cut the meat it's almost like trying to make you feel like a hunter if the animals were really agreeable, dead, and well salted. But so we're at this meat palace, we're cutting off meat, we're men, bachelor party. And we're just doing it. So at this party is Greg, not his real name, the bachelor. Eddie, a dude who was from Greg's high school, who was there in New York just for the bachelor party, okay? And Sean, one of our friends, who is like a married dude, super repressed, he never gets out, this is a special occasion. He was happy to be in the world. There are a lot of other people there, not important, but the things you need to know is that me and Greg and most of the guys there are comedy writers, okay? That's all we do. We're comedy writers. Eddie is the wild card from out of town. He's trying to impress everybody. So we're digging the meat. We're having a good time. And then after the food is all done, Eddie's like, everybody, I've got it all planned out for after the dinner. Now, that's not what his voice really sounded like. But I'm using this voice because everything that he said was so crazy, we shouldn't have listened to him all night long. So that's not his real voice. Anyway, so he says, hey, we're going to a strip club. It's BYOB. If you know strip clubs, even if you don't, you know they're not BYOB. I actually reached out to a friend of mine who's a stripper. I asked her, hey, what are the laws in New York City about strip clubs? And she was like, oh, actually, you can be totally nude if the strip club is BYOB. It is actually a legal thing. However, when I asked him at the time, because I didn't know this fact, when I asked him at the time, I was like, hey, Eddie, what the BYOB, what the hell? And yeah, it's a legal thing, but he tossed that idea away, and he's like, it's an illegal Russian strip club. It's inside an office building. Let's go. Now, all the other people who are unnamed in this story were like, hell no, we're out of here. I was like, okay. Let's go. So Greg goes, Eddie goes, Sean goes, and I go. On the way, we grab like some beer, we grab a couple of bottles of vodka, and we go to this strip club. It is on the 5th floor of an office building on 35th Street, okay? In New York. It's exactly where a strip club is not supposed to be! So we go up to the 5th floor, the elevator opens, and there's this fucking huge Russian monster dude. He's just like, why are you here? He looks like a fucking James Bond, like, side villain. We freak out, because we're all comedy writers. We're like, but then fucking Eddie comes forward and is like, hey, we're friends of Lenny. Lenny wanted us to come. And the guy's like, oh, you're friends with Lenny. Come in. So we go in, but before I go any further, you should all know the entire night we never met anybody named Lenny. There was just nobody there named Lenny. Inside this strip club, on the 5th floor of an office building, first of all, there were file cabinets pushed up against the wall. So, like, it was an office space that they were like, we're just gonna have a strip club here for a little while. They hung velvet cloth from the ceiling over the file cabinets. You could still see the file cabinet shape. It was like halfway temp office, halfway 1910 opium den. So, in the middle of the room was a circular bed, okay? Circular bed with like black coverings on top of it. That'll come in a little bit later. Now, we brought beer and vodka to the illegal Russian strip club. Immediately, all the strippers were like, oh my God, you guys are the best. Because apparently, even though it's BYOB, at an illegal Russian strip club, most people don't bring beer and vodka because they don't give a fuck about liquor or sharing. They just bring their penises. So we were really popular because I had the great idea. I was like, ladies, you guys want beer? Do you guys want vodka? Let's share it with the ladies. And the strippers were like, this is the best. And we were like, this is the best. So then it gets around that Greg, it's his, I almost fucking said his real name. He'd be so mad. It gets around that it's Greg's bachelor party, okay? It's Greg's bachelor party, and everybody, the strippers were like, oh my God, it's his bachelor party. We have to give him a 2-lady special dance. It's $250. Let's give him a 2-lady special dance. Everybody clams up, and they're like, oh, we're not, giving this 2-lady special dance. Nobody wants to do it. And I'm like, oh, it's his bachelor party. We have to give him a special dance. You guys take cards? No, they don't. Okay, so I'm trying to get the money together, do not have the money, but then they're like, well, we have an ATM machine. So I use the ATM machine to get him all the money that he needs for this special dance. Yes, my card ID was stolen. Yes. Of course it was, everyone. I'm in an illegal Russian strip club in an office building using an ATM. Of course, it was stolen. But I was like, okay, let's get this dude hooked up with this dance. He goes off for this special dance. Now, yes, they called it a special dance. I'm not saying that it was sex. I don't know what it was, okay? I'm only using a fake name because I'm certain it was not sex. So he goes away. And then the rest of the girls are like, hey, do you guys want some private dances, okay? So I am not like a lap dance dude, okay? I honestly, I just like, I'm like, why am I wasting time on this when I could be spending $20 on a woman who will totally have sex with me? Eddie I'm too drunk for a dance. He's just drunk. He's super drunk because he's trying to impress everybody. He didn't make it. Sean, super married. He's like, I don't know what his woman is doing to him, but he's like shut down. He's like, absolutely not. So the strippers are like disappointed, but then one of them gets a great idea. Hey, let's do a live sex show. Everybody on the bed. So they all hop on the bed. It's like at least 4 or 5 women. They all hop on the bed. They're all like brandishing vibrators. And then they turn them on. They're like writhing in a pool of nakedness. And they go down with the vibrators and they start, I'm just going to call stirring it up. So they start stirring it up. It's just like, so it's happening on the bed. And we're all like watching, and I'm like not a live sex show dude either. I'm not. So I try to like relieve the tension with a little joke. There's so many women writhing around on this bed. I turn to Sean, my married friend. I'm like, too many legs, right? Sean is a repressed married dude. He is in a trance and cannot hear me. He's just staring down into the void of sex. His eyes are so wide open, just trying to suck as many images as he can into his eyes for later so he can take it to a dark place and masturbate. He's gone. So there's a sex show happening that I am not interested in. My friend Greg is gone. Eddie's drunk. So I'm like, So I go sit in a chair in the corner and start texting. Because that's what a real man does. Then this woman comes over. Her name is Natasha, let's say. And she's like, hey, do you want a free lap dance? You look bored. And I'm like, okay. Now, at the time, I thought I was just saying okay, but I think that accidentally she thought I was like some kind of baller because we came in with all this liquor. We shared it with all of the dancers, and then I like got all this money out of the ATM, and she thought I was the dude in charge. I think that's what she thought. I was not. I'm just a normal dude. But then she starts the lap dance, and then she's like, hey, you can finger me. And I'm like, okay. So we start making out. And I'm making out with her. I'm fingering her. Come on, it's a legal Russian dance strip club town. I don't know what the fuck is going on. It's all good. We're having a blast, I think. So then at one point, she's like, you're very passionate. Would you like to come to the back room with me? And I'm like, okay. So she and I creep off to a back room, okay? We creep off to a back room. She and I are together. We are making out. We are just taking each other's clothes off slowly, all right? And then, we're about to get down to business, if business is fucking. Okay, so. Suddenly, the door to the room we are in swings open. There's a giant Russian dude there. Not the same dude at the door, just like his fucking twin brother, okay? He's there. 3 women are with him, and then 2 other dudes who I can only describe as sheiks, okay? Because I've seen movies, I don't really know what the correct word is, but they were like suits, they had turbans, okay? That's what my mind says, sheiks. They're about to have a sex party. We were in their sex party room, we're about to have our own 2-person sex party. So the Russian guy, the Russian fucking guard, like pushes everybody behind him with like one fucking big meaty arm. And he's like, hey, what the fuck is going on here? I look to Natasha. She does probably the worst thing that I think she could have done at that moment. She starts crying. She's like, oh. Then the Russian guy's like, hey! And he pulls out a big fucking knife. Okay? Like a knife, okay? Not like a knife like, hey, I wonder what mail I've got today. No, like a knife like, let's see what your rib cage looks like. And he pulls it out and he advances in such a way, he's like, I've done this plenty of times. Welcome. She starts crying even more, and I'm like, oh my God, am I about to die? I start pulling my pants up, because I'm thinking, if I'm gonna die, I don't want to be one of those dudes found with his pants down in the middle of his ankles. Natasha jumps up in front of me, and she's like, no, please, he didn't know. I don't know what I didn't know. But it did make him pause. My pants are up, and I jump up, and I'm panicking. And I'm like, what can I say to this guy so he doesn't fucking cut me in half? So I say to him, hey man, don't kill me for kissing a girl. That's right, that's some shit right out of a John Hughes movie. Don't kill me for kissing a girl. And he pauses. And he puts away his knife. And he goes, get out of here. And I do. I leave the room. I leave Natasha. I don't know if he fucking cut her into a million pieces. I don't give a fuck. But I'm out. I run out to the main room. Fucking Eddie is gone. Greg is gone. Everybody's gone. I'm just the last guy there. I'm walking out of the strip club into the night. It's like the sun is just starting to come up. There are a couple of strippers on the street who are just getting off work. And they see me as the guy who is like being the baller, making out with the stripper, going in the back room. They don't know what happened. But they're like, hey, do you want to come to breakfast with us? And I'm like, oh no. No, I do not. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.